Speaker Mike Johnson, here are the simple facts about the Democrat shutdown. Democrat votes are required to reopen the government. So you could ask Google AI this question. Are Democrat votes required to reopen the government? Matter of fact, here, I'll get a head start, and I'll do that right now. So let me ask Google AI. So are Democrat... Here, let me just shorten that. Okay, now let's see what the AI says about this. All right, so AI mode. I bet it won't answer it. Is he going to answer it or not? Nope, it didn't answer it. How do you like that? Here are the top web results for exploring this topic. Okay. Please answer the question. It's not going to. I already know it's not going to. It's just going to give results, see? It doesn't want to answer that. It's a very simple question. Are Democrat votes required to reopen the government? Please answer the question. It won't do it. So I'm not going to get hung up on this. I did this last night. I made a whole video about doing this, and it's extremely frustrating because Google claims that it's like the most ultra unbiased AI tool out there on the internet. Yeah, okay. But look, if you ask Grok, look, here, hold on. Where did that go? Okay. Let me just show that example. You know, if we're gonna be fair on both sides, because some people claim that Grok is like all right-leaning and now it's all biased and everything. Here, I probably don't even have to ask it that, but I'll just plug that in. I'll let it do its thing and I'll come back to it. So Democrats have voted 13 times to keep it closed. Democrats refuse to fund the government unless we restore $200 billion in health benefits for illegal aliens, as well as billions for foreign projects, $500 million for leftist media outlets, and huge cuts to rural hospitals. So Speaker Johnson is saying that they're looking for $200 billion in health benefits. I heard some other Republican politician who said that they're looking for $1 trillion in health benefits, including for those for illegal aliens. And then you have President Trump saying that they want $1.5 trillion for health benefits, including for illegal aliens. So I guess if you want to take the most conservative number, that's the lowest one that I've seen, and it's coming from Speaker Mike Johnson, but that's still an absurd amount of money, and they're looking to fund it for the next 10 years. Whereas the last tax credits for the Affordable Care Act, they were passed in 2022, again with zero Republican support. They set a timetable on it for 3 years, and it's due to expire next month in November. And that's why everybody's healthcare costs are going to skyrocket and explode, which is why they want this $200 billion, which will, again, artificially lower it, because Obamacare can't exist in its current form unless they subsidize the hell out of it. All right, so number 4, Democrats admit they're using the pain and suffering of the American people as leverage while boasting that every day gets better for them. Democrats are doing this to appease their far-left Marxist base because they're more afraid of them than the American people. Let me just check on Grok real quick. Oh, yeah, see, look, it answers straight up. Yes, Democratic votes are required to reopen the U.S. government during the current shutdown, primarily due to the Senate's 60-vote filibuster threshold for advancing funding bills. See, that was a perfectly reasonable answer. Perfectly reasonable. Unlike Google, Google won't. Oh, here's the top web results for this topic from left-wing CBS News, from ABC again, from fucking Facebook, okay, from The Hill, left-leaning, National Low-Income Housing Coalition, whatever, sounds lefty, but all right. ABC News, Representative Tom Barrett, is he a Republican or is he a Democrat? Requires 60 votes. Looks like a Republican. I mean, it's in red. I don't know. There's a lot of people in Congress. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get there. But anyway, so all right, let me go back. And YouTube, Facebook, PBS. That's hilarious. PBS. So yeah, not exactly the best results to get to a very simple question. So here, let's just play this from Speaker Johnson.
So I brought you a little visual aid here to just remind everybody what the simple facts are. 4 simple facts here. The Democrats are required to open the government. They keep saying Republicans are in charge of government. We aren't. Not in the Senate. 60 votes control the Senate.
It's not a democracy in the Senate, people.
And so point number 1, Democrat votes are required to open the government. Point number 2, they refuse to do it. They have now voted 12 times to keep the government closed. And they'll have another chance today or tomorrow, maybe multiple times this week. and we'll see what they do. Now, the third point is very important because they've
Yeah,
been
because keep in mind, if you're not super familiar with politics, Mike Johnson's the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Speaker Mike Johnson's not in the Senate. He has no control in the Senate. He's just reporting on what's happening in the Senate from his position of power by being the Speaker of the House.
Confuse the American people. They've tried to say this is a fight about health care or this or that.
They already passed it in the House.
It's very simple. They put this on paper. They made this their demand in writing in the record of the Senate, and it has not changed. These are just 4 subpoints there under fact number 3, but there's many more. But among the things they're demanding, this is what the Democrats in the Senate are demanding to reopen the government. They want to give $200 billion in health benefits to illegal aliens and non-citizens, paid for by U.S. taxpayers. That is.
Now, if I'm going to push back at all, is all $200 billion of that going directly to illegal immigrants, period? Like $200 billion is going to go directly to, all right, I'll use the Democrats' term, non-citizens. Because that's kind of a political way to spin it, Mike Johnson, if that's not the case. If $200 billion are going to be injected into the American or Affordable Care Act to keep it sustained for another 10 years or however long they want to sustain it for, I mean, I have a hard time believing you, dude.
In their proposal,
I think it's just an element of the $200 billion
to be
illegal
returned to
immigrants.
foreign countries.
But maybe I'm wrong.
Stop
I might be
these
wrong.
Things. They
might be
want
directly for
to turn it
illegals.
all back on. They're demanding that we do all that to get the government open for hardworking Americans again. They want to give $500 million to left-leaning news organizations, and they want to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals. We cannot.
They do. That's hilarious. They do, because during the One Big Beautiful Bill and back in July when they passed it, $50 billion are being allocated to rural hospitals because of the Medicaid cuts, which was largely done because of fraud, waste, and abuse. But the cuts will affect rural hospitals because they don't get the population of patients like the major hospitals in major cities do. So this kind of help keeps them afloat during a period of time. And Democrats want to cut that. So on one hand, they're saying they're all about our health care and they want to make health care cheap, and you got to pass the Obamacare subsidies so we can keep healthcare affordable. But on the other hand, they're saying we want to strip that $50 billion away from rural hospitals. I wonder if it might have something to do with these rural hospitals primarily being in red areas.
They will not do those things, and they know that very well.
They just want people to suffer, man. That's all they want. That's all Democrats want.
The Democrats have now openly admitted,
economic
and you all had
sadists.
to cover it last week, that they're using the pain of the American people as their leverage. That was the number 2 ranked Democrat in the House. The Democrat, the minority whip, who said that, acknowledged it in an interview, that this is leverage. And Chuck Schumer himself boasted that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. That's his now infamous quote that he wishes he had not said out loud. But you know what they're doing and why.
Yep, his age is catching up
Why
to
are
him.
they demanding these things? Why is point number 3 so essential to them? Why would they do this? Because it's unprecedented, as we've noticed, and reminded you all. They voted for CRs every time it was possible in their
13
lives,
times.
as recently as March of this year.
Yeah,
But they're
like
doing
all
it
throughout
to
Biden's
appease
presidency. They
their
voted for the same
far-left
thing.
Marxist base. That's the headline. That's why. That's why we're all in this mess. That's why the American people are suffering pain, because the Democrats are more afraid of the Marxist in their base.
Yeah, they want to set us down the road to communism.
See, they've made an evaluation that they have to appease the Marxist base, that they're so concerned that they'll lose their jobs.
Well, you also have to think about the Great Reset 2030. Look, that's still on the table as far as the World Economic Forum is concerned, as far as the leaders over in Europe are concerned. They want this global consolidation of power and usher in this Great Reset where we'll own nothing and we will be happy, or else. And as part of that initiative, they want to make everything carbon neutral. They want to create 15-minute cities so you can't travel. Well, they don't say that you can't travel within 15 minutes of your home, but that's really what they want. They want you to live in a city where everything is only 15 minutes away from where you live, so you don't have to use a bunch of electricity to get around because everything's close by. But realistically, they'll just get it to a point where it's just like a Jetson-style freaking concentration camp, essentially, where you're not even allowed to leave, and you got to work here, and you got to do this, you got to sleep in the pods, and you got to eat your bugs, and you will obey, that kind of thing. So I wonder how much of that might be an element as to what the Democrats' true agenda is, because Trump winning in 2016 really threw a wrench into that Great Reset agenda, because they were full steam ahead with that. And then when Trump won, he set him back 4 years, and then the whole COVID thing happened, my opinion, getting all conspiratorial, that was probably their answer to Trump's re-election, because they got to get everything clinched down, because 2030, it's coming up pretty soon. We only got 12 years left until the climate change just runs away and we turn into Venus in like 15 fucking years or some shit like that.
If they don't appease the far left in their party, and they sat in a back room and they made the calculation that they would rather shut the government down and impose all this pain on the American people, because they believe the Marxists, the far left and the base, are more active than hardworking Americans, people who go vote. And so they made the calculation that it's worth it to them. Every day gets better for us. We'll use the pain as leverage. For what? To prove to the far left base that they won't give in, that they'll fight Trump and fight the Republicans. What are they fighting? It's a clean CR. It's the same level of funding that they have voted for as recently as earlier this year. They are Biden-level policies and spending. This is not some Republican wish list. We don't have any of our priorities in this at all.
There's nothing in there.
It's the Democrats' own product. But they have decided to flip the script this time because they were getting too much heat from the far left.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Yeah, the Republicans literally added nothing to this bill at all. There's nothing. The only thing that either side wants to add to it is everything coming from the Democrats. And he already laid everything out that they want. Absolute insanity, man. I don't know. Do you think this is going to backfire on him? Because everything has to hedge on what the American people are going to wind up believing. And that's why I think that social media might play a large part in this. And I hope the intelligence community, I hope the Trump administration, I hope they're staying ahead of that, because I think that they're going to try to ramp up that propaganda machine like they did during the Biden administration, like they did during COVID, trying to get us all brainwashed into believing whatever they want us to believe in. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you take a quick second to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And check out The Swamp, which drops Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, covering the daily happenings inside the federal machine. Thank you very much for watching.